Hello ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, innies, outies and in-betweeners, and welcome back to another PAP Reports. Today is Wednesday the 12th of February 2020 and we're starting today with an update to a report from PAP Reports 4th of February. Here's a little reminder. A 3-week inquest into the death of 44-year-old Katrina O'Hara, who was stabbed to death in Blandford on January the 7th, 2016 has been taking place. The inquest has heard that Katrina's son, who has told of the fact that police knew that her life was in danger 2 weeks prior to her death. In fact, Katrina was stabbed just days after Stuart Thomas was released by police after being arrested for harassment. Well, it turns out that Detective Sergeant Andrew March has told the inquest that he didn't believe that Stuart Thomas, Katrina's killer, was a risk to Katrina. Days before Thomas killed Katrina, he was arrested and held in custody for 6 hours before being released without the police informing Katrina O'Hara. DS March, the custody sergeant at the time, told the hearing that he made the final decision and, in his opinion, the police did not have enough grounds to hold Thomas. He added that he didn't think the roofer would breach the terms of his bail by offending again, even though he had already breached his bail. But after being bailed, he did indirectly contact hairdresser 44-year-old Katrina to get her to drop the charges against him. Just 7 days after being released, Thomas went to the barber shop in Blandford where Katrina worked and stabbed her to death. Detective Sergeant March said, "I did consider whether to remand Thomas in custody, but we were satisfied there were not substantial grounds to believe that he would commit further offences whilst on bail." He did have a previous conviction for harassment in 2014 and was subject to a restraining order at the time, but he had not breached this order. The previous offence to that was 20 years earlier. "I knew he had made threats to harm himself, but was told a mental health assessment had been completed, and during the interview he said he had no intention of killing himself." I'm sure he said that he had no intention of killing Katrina as well. "Taking everything into account, my decision was he was unsuitable for remand in custody." The inquest had previously heard police were unable to tell Miss O'Hara that Thomas had been released because they seized her mobile phone as evidence. Now, I will of course bring you more on this hearing as it becomes available. 20-year-old Max Bateman of Church Road, Ferndown, has been sentenced to 12 weeks, suspended for 18 months at Poole Magistrates Court after stealing body armour and Kevlar during a burglary last year. Bateman stole 16 body armour vests, 36 Kevlar plates and 13 Kevlar helmets during one burglary at a stockroom in Solace Global Maritime Limited in Twin Sales House, Poole. In fact, Bateman appears to have targeted and burgled the premises on more than one occasion. Bateman was a Dorset police volunteer with apparent dreams of becoming a fully fledged narcissist police constable. During one of the burglaries, he took the body armour, Kevlar plates and helmets, as well as canoe helmets, pocket radios and a projector. In the second two, he stole a thermal imaging device, 2 satellite navigation phones and a Kevlar helmet. Bateman also admitted 2 counts of theft by employee. The court heard he stole 3 personalised medic epaulets and a police-issued baseball cap belonging to a sergeant at Ferndown Police Station on dates between February and April last year. The defendant worked in engagement services for Dorset Police until last year. He was a contact point for police in Boscombe. He then volunteered as a liaison between town centre businesses and officers. A spokesperson from Dorset Police said, "We received a report of the theft of items from Solace Global Maritime on April the 18th, 2019. Bateman was arrested on April 23rd. Officers became aware of the theft from Ferndown Police Station that same day. Bateman was suspended from his role upon arrest and is no longer a volunteer," the spokesperson said. A National Audit Office report has revealed the scores of tragic suicide cases that have been quietly investigated since 2016 over DWP benefits processes and warns even that could just be the tip of the iceberg. A probe has currently uncovered investigations into 69 benefit claimant suicides, and there are almost certainly more it has never looked into, this damning report has revealed. The National Audit Office said unclear rules stopped other deaths being investigated properly. Last year, one minister said you cannot make casual links between people being on benefits and people tragically taking their own lives. However, the National Audit Office briefing confirms that the Department for Work and Pensions had launched internal process reviews into 69 suicides of benefit claimants since 2014. Although the briefing did not conclude what might have triggered people's deaths, it warned it is highly unlikely that the 69 cases the DWP have investigated represents the number of cases it could have investigated. The DWP does not have a robust record of all contact from coroners. The National Audit Office also said DWP guidance has not always been clear about when to investigate. Not all staff were aware of the guidance, and guidance did not reflect the full scope of issues that trigger a probe. The report revealed just 9 of the probes began thanks to contact from a coroner. That compared to 19 that were launched due to media coverage of someone's death. Labour's Shadow Minister for Disabled People, Marcia de Cordova, said the department has once again shown that it lacks any accountability or care for tragic cases relating to social security claims. The government must immediately establish a broader independent inquiry into deaths related to social security. The audit report was ordered by Frank Field, who was chair of the Commons Work and Pensions Committee, but lost his seat in the December general election. He told in a report to The Guardian, "This report represents a catastrophic situation for vulnerable claimants and their families. What we need now is a full investigation into the DWP's processes and for the necessary changes to be made so that nobody is ever put into this situation again." Now, the problem is, though, in my opinion, is that it's too damn late when people are dead. Instead of simply brushing claimants' concerns under the carpet or simply not giving a damn, because let's face it, those who work for the DWP still get paid whether they help you or not. But those who are on benefits often suffer in silence due to the difficult and unhelpful nature of the Department for Work and Pensions until it's too late. On the 20th of January in PAP Reports 200120, I told you about a report that had been compiled regarding the number of foreign criminals who have been allowed into the country. Here's a quick reminder. More than 2,000 killers, paedophiles and rapists were allowed entry into the UK with zero criminal record checks over the past 3 years. However, those figures only cover those who have got into trouble with UK police, meaning the actual number is almost certainly much higher. Well, it turns out that new figures show that 7,300 foreign criminals are living in freedom instead of being deported, after figures from the Home Office were released. Killers, sex attackers, robbers and drug dealers are among the offenders from overseas who are released after their prison sentences. Some of the criminals are due to be deported, but by setting them free allows them to drop off the radar, potentially putting the public in danger. Others exploit human rights or asylum laws to avoid being sent home. MPs and criminal justice experts accused the Home Office of overseeing a fiasco. In total, 7,341 foreign national offenders due to be deported were living in the UK, up 46% from the same time period in 2015. Nearly a third, that's 2,256, have been on the loose for more than 5 years. A further 2,895 have dodged being booted out for between 12 months and 5 years. Of the 588 offenders freed between April and June last year, only 29 had been deported. Home Office failures like this are what have shattered public confidence in the immigration system, David Spencer of the Centre for Crime Prevention think tank said. It is ridiculous that the Home Office is willing to put the public at risk by releasing known offenders onto the streets. It is a fiasco. If a convicted criminal is facing deportation, they must be kept behind bars until their deportation is resolved. It is time to put public safety before prison numbers and convict rights. Britain can deport EU criminals if they are sentenced to jail, while non-EU criminals must have served at least 1 year behind bars. The Home Office said that since 2010 it had removed more than 51,000 foreign criminals. A spokesman added, "Our priority will always be to keep the British public safe." Doing a good job. Where removal isn't immediately possible, electronic monitoring is already used to track foreign national offenders who have committed serious offences. I simply don't see how it can be so difficult to kick them out of the country and for the border staff to do their job properly and not let them back in. An unnamed Hertfordshire police constable is currently under IOPC investigation after accusations that he was using his position for sexual purposes. The 32-year-old was arrested on January 22nd of misconduct in a public office. A spokeswoman for the IOPC said, "We can confirm that 32-year-old Hertfordshire police constable based at Stevenage Police Station was arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. He has been released on police bail until a later date this month." An investigation conducted by Hertfordshire Police under the direction and control of the IOPC follows a complaint the officer may have abused their position for a sexual purpose. Of course, any developments on this story, and I will report them in future PAP reports. Finally today we end on what could be seen as some good news for a change, providing this isn't just some political speech from Superintendent Jim Baker, who was taken over as the new boss of policing in Telford. Jim Baker has promised to help support all current and past victims of child sexual exploitation in any possible prosecutions and has urged victims to come forward. He's vowed that the force would put every effort into investigating any allegation of exploitation, and if the victim comes forward and the evidence threshold is met, then action would be taken. He said, "When I moved into the role, I asked myself where the highest harm is, and it's the children at risk of exploitation. That might be criminal exploitation. You hear stories about children being used to sell drugs. But there is a history of sexual exploitation in the area. Right at the top of my threat assessment is protecting children from harm and protecting the wider community from harm. It's a significant issue, and the issues that we face today reflect the past. It clearly has high community concern, and if the community are concerned about it, we as the police are concerned about it. We put every effort into investigating any allegation of child sexual exploitation, and I truly believe that when the victim feels able to support action and the evidential threshold is met, we will take positive action. My plea would be for any current or past victim of sexual exploitation to come forward and speak to us. We can support you and work with your partners to ensure we minimise the harm going forward and support you in any prosecutions. Plans are being generated as part of the force planning cycle at headquarters around additional staff that will come from central government's increase. We expect that a proportion of those staff will come to Telford and make a difference, especially around investigations." Well, on the face of it, it all sounds very promising. However, I guess only time will tell. Providing this channel is still here, I will certainly keep you updated. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Please like, share, comment and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, as I know many of you will. And until next time, stay safe, look after each other, film the police and other officials.
Good night, all.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you like the content and you'd like to help support the channel, you can do so. In the description of every video there are some links to ways that you're able to help support the channel so I can continue putting out content. If you're unable to help us in that way, hit that subscribe button up the top there. If you haven't already, become a subscriber. That is support enough. Share the videos, comment, like, it all helps. If you're looking for something else to watch, up top there is my latest video. Down the bottom there is a video that YouTube recommends for you.